I know many of you wake up in the morning and immediately you're already stressed out. You just start thinking about the schedule of all the things that you have to accomplish throughout the day and the tasks, and it just seems so overwhelming. And not only that, but you are adding to it. You probably grab your phone and open Instagram and Facebook and you start the comparison game right away. You look at all the posts from your friends having all the things that you want. Maybe it's the house, the car, the marriage, the job, whatever it may be. You are already putting yourself in that lack and limitational thought process. And then you open the news app and you start reading about the chaos that's going on in the world and the politics. And the next thing you know, you've only been awake for a few minutes and you're already stressed out. All you did was open your eyes, but you just made the wrong choices. You did you did the things that actually are going to hold you back instead of doing habits that are going to help you move forward in the day. But that's not the end of it. Then you get into the day and you start grinding. And many of you, including myself, a little while back, I've changed this, think that the grind, thinking that hard work is going to pay off. And hard work is going to get you to where you want to be. Now, that is not entirely a lie. You need to work. You need to be proactive. But maybe you don't need to work as hard as you think you do. Maybe it's the fact that you just have the wrong mindset going into the day. Maybe it's the fact that you just have habits that are actually holding you back and limiting what you could possibly be accomplishing instead of actually having habits that will get you moving forward and get you toward the life of your dreams that you've always wanted and becoming the person that you've always wanted to be. That version of you that you see being successful and standing tall, shoulders back, confident, that person. So let's talk about a little bit of what those habits look like. Well, the first thing, let's start out in the morning. Your morning routine. Now, I did a video about this a little while back, and you can always go refer back to that. But we're going to summarize a little bit of what you need to do in order to start your day off the right way. First off, don't pick up the phone. Keep the phone down. Nothing on that phone that you typically look at that has to do with the three-dimensional world is going to do anything that is going to help you out. Now, if you have a routine of maybe devotionals or affirmations or things that are actually going to register positive thoughts in your mind right away, things that you can accomplish throughout the day, knowing that no matter what happens, everything is going to work out for you, that you know who you are and what you can accomplish, and that you're relying on God to take control of the things that you have no control over. Now, if you have those things, that's absolutely fine. And I think you understand where I'm going with this. But if your routine is picking up the phone and looking at apps and starting the comparison game like we talked about earlier as soon as we got into this video, you're going to start off your day with the wrong mindset. In that loop, the things that you start wanting and the things that you feel like, oh, I don't have that, and you start thinking in that matter, and then the chaos, like I said, that's going on in the world, and you're already just stressing yourself out. So if you start off your day stressed out, what do you think the rest of the day is going to bring? More stress, right? So a lot of times what you want to do is you want to start off your day with the things that you want more of in your day. And that's positive thinking, that's confidence. That's the idea that no matter what it is that you come across that is a challenge, you're going to approach it with the right mindset, with a positive attitude, with the idea that you know that God is going to have your back and everything is going to work out. Now, you are going to have your challenges. There's no way around that. But how you go into those challenges with the mindset that is positive, with the mindset that knows that you can accomplish anything, that is going to help you in the long run. That is going to help you execute those meetings that you were stressed out about. That is going to help you with that conference call that you don't know if you have the right skill set, or you're going into it with imposter syndrome thinking that you're going to be exposed because everybody sees you for better than who you actually see yourself as. So you got to go into the day with a positive mindset. And whatever that looks like, the first 30 to 45 minutes of your day are so important. So if you're a person who likes to meditate, awesome. That is a great way to do it. If you do breathing techniques, even better. You want to put yourself in a state of mind where you can just relax, because it doesn't have to be difficult and you don't need to start your day off with stress. The second thing is habits that are good, Habits that put you in a state of mind where you can have some clarity. So, for instance, for me, what I have found in my life is that my workout routine is really important to me. But it's not just the workout routine, it's just having time to myself. So, I feel bad because sometimes when I'm in the gym, I might not look like the most friendly person, but it's not because I'm not. It's just because I'm in the moment with myself. When I'm pushing up weights, I'm also thinking. And I actually, instead of listening to music, now I listen to YouTube videos and podcasts that are inspiring and educate me and empower me and offer me positive affirmations or ideas of things that I did not know about. I like to learn while I'm working out. I absorb information a lot better when I'm moving, and I notice that. So whether it's my workout routine, if I'm running, if I'm walking, I like to move. And when I move, I like to be in the moment on my own. I like that to be my time. Because let's face it, if you're a family guy or you're a friend guy or whoever, even at work, if you're a manager or even just a coworker, a lot of times people are demanding of your time. And you need time to yourself. It's super, super important. And if you're constantly doing things for others, it's going to drain you. And it's going to make you feel like everything, you're just giving everything to everybody else, but there's nothing left for you. So you got to have time for yourself. And that's really, really important. So if you don't take time to do the things that you enjoy doing now, I'm talking about my workout routine, but for some of you, it may be, reading a book, or whatever you do to relax. Maybe it's playing music. Maybe you're really good with an instrument. Whatever that looks like for you, I urge you to do it. A lot of times I talk to people, especially coworkers at work, and I say, "Hey, what do you got going on this weekend? What do you do for yourself?" And they don't have an answer. And I feel bad because it's so important to have that time where you can just decompress and reboot. And honestly, a lot of times, and think about it this too, when you get time to yourself and you can just be relaxed in the moment and have clarity, great creative ideas start forming too. Because now you're not stressed out about the things that this world is providing to you all the time. You can be in the moment, and when you're in the moment and you can just relax and have some clarity, next thing you know, some ideas start forming, and you'll start realizing certain things about your life and you can get into your own thoughts and start working on things that maybe are holding you back. And that's the other thing I want to get into. That's why having your own time is so important. That's why having quiet time and downtime is so important, because deep down there are things that are blocking what you want to accomplish, right? So you are constantly trying to pave a path for a new life, but there's always a barrier, it seems, no matter how far you get, no matter what you try to do, whether you're changing your environment, your job, your relationships, maybe you're looking to other things to help fulfill needs. But no matter what you do that you think you're going in the right direction, you find this blocking point. And a lot of times it's because of what's within. You got to look deep down. There are certain belief systems that you have that are holding you back from the things that you want. And so what I mean by that is the next step of this is you got to look at you. Look at who you are as a person and your personality and your belief system. What beliefs do you have that are stopping you from getting the life that you want? Right? Think about this. If I asked you, if I pointed out a mansion, I said, "Can you have that?" What's the first thing that comes to mind? Is it too expensive? Is it out of the normal social status of what your family has grown up and told you, that you're only going to be at this level for the rest of your life? Does it seem so unobtainable and so far-fetched that it's not even a thought in your mind that you could have something like that? Now, it's not about the material thing. It's not about the mansion, but it's about the thought. What thought comes to your mind? Is that a possibility for you, or is it not? And if you think to yourself that a mansion or, whatever, owning your own plane, let's just kind of go there, having your own private jet. Again, this is not about the material thing. It's not about the jet, but it's about the emotion of how that feels to you. Is that so far-fetched for you to be able to have that? Because I want to tell you this, if one person in this life is able to be a billionaire, then everybody in this life has the opportunity to be just like that billionaire and be a billionaire. They do. We were all brought into this life the exact same way. We all did not know anything at the time that we were put into this life. Everything that we kind of were educated on and gained knowledge of and created a belief system around, and traditions and different things came from either it was our parents or it was people around us that were mentors and inspired us, and we took their word as a bond. Like whatever they told us became our personal story of what we believe. So if you believe that money is hard to make, well, that's your story. And if you think that money is hard to make and you think that money, money is the root of all evil, how much money do you think you're going to have in your life? Again, this is not about the material things. It's about the emotion. It's about the belief system that you personally have. You need to believe that anything is possible. You need to believe that these things that seem so far-fetched and far out there for you are absolutely attainable, because when you start believing that the impossible is possible, your whole life will change. The problem is that you kept thinking the impossible is impossible, and it stays impossible. But when you look at certain things and you can see there's a possibility there because you changed your belief system and who you are, and now you have confidence, everything changes. And when it comes to confidence, that's another thing. Confidence is really important. Confidence is basically how much you trust yourself. So if you lack confidence, that also means that you don't trust yourself. And if you don't trust yourself, that means you don't have the best relationship with yourself. Because think about it this way. Trust is the foundation of any relationship. And most relationships that don't have trust included in it, or there's broken trust, usually don't last, or they fail, or they become very, very difficult. So if you don't have confidence, meaning that you don't trust yourself, that means you don't have a good relationship with yourself. And that's probably something you want to try to fix immediately, and look deep down and figure out why. Why don't you have the confidence, and why don't you trust yourself? What happened along the way as you grew up, within maybe your early years or teenage years, that you started believing that you were not worthy, that you couldn't have certain things, or maybe that you couldn't accomplish certain things, or that you were just limited in this life and who you were told you were going to be, and that's all that's going to come from you. That became your story. That became your personal story. And it doesn't have to be that way. So when you start finding out what these blocks are, what thoughts that come to your mind that you start realizing that are really holding you back. If you think that money is the root of all evil, why don't you just reverse that? Right? Money is not the root of all evil. Money does really good in this world. Money provides mission trips. Money builds churches. Money helps people in need. And if someone like you out there who has a giving heart isn't trying to find a life where you can be financially free and have an abundant life and have the finances to help other people, well, that money is never going to go to the people that absolutely need it, because you are holding yourself back. Money is not bad. It's just how you use it, how you look at it, what it's like, what the symbol is in your life. So for me, when I look at money, I used to think the same exact things I'm telling you. Money is the root of all evil. People with money are greedy. I don't want to be like them. I see what money does to people. Why would I want to be like that person? But the more I started realizing those thoughts, the more I noticed that, you know what? My belief system is all jacked up, because it wasn't just about the money. I started realizing a lack of confidence in areas of my life that were more than just the money. It was what I thought was obtainable for me and what wasn't. In my last video, I talked about that. I talked about how I sabotaged myself because of my belief system, because of the lack of confidence that I had. And I don't want that for you guys. I want you to have a life where you know that anything is absolutely possible. And the grind doesn't have to be hard. So if you go into a day where you realize that, you know what, I have a lot of things I need to accomplish, and I'm just so overwhelmed, and I don't know how I'm going to do this, and I don't know how I'm going to tackle this schedule, and I got a meeting with my boss, or I got a meeting with a friend, and it's going to be a really difficult conversation to have. Look, what do you have control over, and what don't you have control over? What you have control over, deal with it. Go into it with the attitude that you are going to do your best, and that you can see yourself as being a person that is going to accomplish whatever task is written in front of you. But don't worry about the outcome. The outcome you have no control over. What happens in those moments, you have control over how hard you work, or you have control over the words that you say. You have control over certain things, but let God take care of the outcome. Let God take care of the things that are out of your control. Because when you allow God to take control, everything becomes so much easier and you come out of situations so much more relaxed. And for some of you, it's just the build up to the event that stresses you out. The thoughts that go through your mind that are just so overwhelming and you don't know what to do. Just relax. Relax and know God's got it taken care of. And if you can just relax knowing that everything that is out of your control is out of your control and you can't do anything about it anyway, then you will just go into something with the right mindset that you can accomplish whatever it is and see it in your mind, see it working out. See that conversation that's going to be difficult. See yourself saying the things that need to be said with absolute confidence and conviction, knowing that you are either going to help somebody or you're working through something at work that's really difficult and you're going to overcome that challenge. You're going to get out of your comfort zone. You're not going to hold yourself back. You're going to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You're going to take a next step in your life, becoming a different person. Not that person with a lack of confidence, but that person that has confidence, that knows that they can accomplish anything. And that's the last thing I want to talk about. A lot of times you got to change who you are if you want the things in life that are outside the reach of what your thoughts are. So anyway, what do I mean by that? Dr. Joe Dispenza is a phenomenal human being. And if you don't know of his story, I urge you to go read his biography. There's videos online, and I know he's got a series on TV about the brain, and he's phenomenal. But what Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about is you got to change your personality if you want to change your personal reality. So if you want your reality to change, your personal reality to change, to mirror who you want to be, you got to change your personality. You can't go into something that is outside the realm of what you feel comfortable, right? You can't get outside your comfort zone making decisions with the same mindset that is scared to make those decisions. You got to get confident. You got to become the person that you want to be. You got to identify with being that person that knows that anything is possible, and that new belief system changes who you are. And with God, anything is possible. And you can have confidence that the outcomes are going to be taken care of, just like we already talked about. But you have to change. You cannot be the same person. And so I've had these personal experiences, and I understand what that's like. And honestly, buying a car was going to be one of the most stressful things in my life, because when I told you I had the belief system that money was the root of all evil and it was so hard to make, and I couldn't be the type of person that could look at me having a nicer vehicle and living a much more elaborate life and a life of luxury, knowing that that was a possibility for me with the minimal mindset of somebody that didn't believe it. So when I bought a new car, and I never thought having something as nice as even a Lincoln was a possibility in my life, the old version of me wouldn't even have made it to the car dealership. I would have been too terrified to even spend the money. Or I would have been too terrified. I wouldn't even be looking for a vehicle like that. I would have stuck in the same price range that I knew all about, that price range of a used vehicle. And again, it's not about the vehicle. I'm using this as an example. It's about the mindset. You can't make tough decisions that are outside of the realm of possibilities that you are currently thinking with the same personality, with the same thought process, because it will never work. You'll never be able to make those tough decisions. You'll never be able to make the decisions that require you to get outside your comfort zone and get uncomfortable with, or get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I hope this resonates with you guys. I hope you understand that from how you start your morning all the way until you start realizing who you are deep down, to the point where you just understand that you got to change who you are. And I always like to use some evidence in the Bible to back up what I am talking about. And I'll leave you guys with this. This is Ephesians 4:22 through 24. So listen to this. To put that you have heard about him and were taught in him as the truth in Jesus, to put off your old self, which belongs to your former manner of life and is corrupt through deceitful desires, and to be renewed in the spirit of your minds, and to put on the new self, created after the likeness of God in the true righteousness and holiness. You got to change who you are. You got to change who you are. If you don't identify with the idea that one, God is in control of everything, and you don't have to worry about things the way that you worry about them, you can relax, knowing that everything is going to be taken care of. Challenges are going to come. There's no way around that. But how are you going to deal with those challenges? What kind of mindset are you going to go into with those challenges? Are you going to go into it with the defeat right as you go into the challenge, with the idea that this is never going to work out? I have no idea how I'm going to pull this off. I'm not the right person for this. Sound familiar? Or are you going to go into it with the confidence that's necessary? And that confidence comes from you becoming a new person. You trusting God, knowing that everything is going to be taken care of. You can change, and you can have the life that you want. You just have to be willing to make those changes with the new habits and the new form of life. I'm so excited for what's in store for you guys.